just realised how long I've been filming, and it's so long it's getting dark. So I'm gonna rattle through the last 4 vehicles on the fleet. I'm gonna start on this view of the Camry, which is one of my favourite views of the Camry. Notice I need a new indicator because it's got a very, very small crack in it. Very small stone chip, so dampness is getting in. Dampness has been a theme of this video, hasn't it? For my shame. But I'll be getting a new one of those. If you remember, she's got some rust right from way back when, I can't remember the exact reason he told me. That's the keys you hear rattling, by the way. That's the swinger's keys of doom. There was a slight accident. I can't remember. Did a trailer reverse into it? I can't remember. I have to go back to the old video. But it was resprayed right when it was very new. This car, not very well. I don't think they treated it properly, so it's got rust down here. But that's going to get sorted at some point. The big news is, thanks to, oh god, yeah, nearly forgot there. If I want to open the boot, you have to do it by the key or by the button down here. If you remember, this car needs, well, actually it doesn't need it. It had advisories on the, oh hello, water, I'm guessing it's coming in from here. That seal needs to be looked at. One of my favourite jobs. So a little bit of water getting there. At least I can tell where it's coming in. Although weirdly, they look like bits of speaker. It's got a very, very good stereo system in this car. It's always a standard stereo system. It sounds beautiful. Yeah, I would say something is eating away at my speakers. Or probably just old age. But I look at that because that isn't normal. Anyway, the reason I'm in the boot is because parts have arrived. Fresh from Toyota GB via eBay. Nut flange. I love Japanese packaging, look at that. I don't know, weird. And this is the kit for the drive shaft. So if you remember, for the MOT, 2 advisories, the boot and the joint. This has now arrived from Autodoc. I love Autodoc, I love the app. Not the quickest delivery in the world, unless you pay extra, but the service is excellent and the prices are brilliant. So highly recommended by PetrolBlog. So because we're in lockdown, I'm tempted to attempt this myself. Tell me otherwise if I'm stupid. But I'd like to get that done because she's ready to go. She's MOT'd and I've hardly used her this year because of, I need to say stupid lockdown. I don't mean stupid lockdown, because of the situation. But I'm really itching to drive this again because I adore this car. And there was plans to drive to Scotland, but that's on hold for obvious reasons. But yeah, Camry's in fine fettle. Oh, just one other thing on the Camry. I will be buying new number plates. I'll be getting the original 2001 font. Speaking of which, I am going to do a video on the number plates of the PetrolBlog fleet because 2 people have asked for it, believe it or not. I won't be able to get the original old Puddletown number plates, which is a shame, but I will get the original font. And I think it'll improve the car. I do like the originality, but I think it will improve the car if I put new plates on. And once it's got that as well, she'll look smart. And then I may even save up my money and get the diamond polished wheels redone, because I think that will finish her off beautifully, wouldn't it? I love this car. I don't mind who knows it. I love this car. 3 cars to go, starting with the Xsara. She's one of probably the only car on the fleet that's currently taxed, MOT'd and insured, all 3 things. She was used this morning to take my mum grocery shopping, essential grocery shopping. Parked at number pump 10 to get some fuel because that's old habits die hard. Her MOT's up in couple of weeks, 16th of November, so be tempting fate to say she'll do all right, but I'll be getting her prepped for the MOT. Weirdly, a couple of faults this morning, because it wouldn't be a French car if there weren't a couple of weird faults. When I drove her this morning, the fans didn't work. That's just me putting the key in. The fans refused to work. and as you can tell, the fans are refusing to work right now too. So the fan has got an intermittent fault, which is great, isn't it? And the other thing is, the heated rear window, which I'm not going to put on, stayed on all the time. I don't know if it'll stay on all the time or whether just the light will stay on all the time. But I'm not going to put it on again to risk it. So yeah, two little weird errors. And actually saying that, there is another little weird quirk. It won't tell you. Sometimes that light, that noise doesn't work. So it's an intermittent fault. So there's a few intermittent gremlins on this. And this is the car that's been, that's just a fuel pump. This is the car that's been absolutely faultless since I bought her for £1,200, which is still a lot of money for a Xsara VTS, believe it or not. Hat tip to Vanessa Carlton. Look at this lovely velour. Well, this is a first. You're actually inside, almost inside, a ZX 16 valve. And this is the first time I think this car has appeared in any of the PetrolBlog videos, which is quite surprising really, because it's probably my favourite on the fleet. If I had to choose, well, this changes daily, probably hourly, but if I had to choose one, if I had to do a William G. Stewart and go a 15-to-1 and had to keep one on the fleet, this would probably be the one. This would be the one that would be the hardest to part with. I don't know why. I will do a video on it soon. And I'll tell you all the reasons, tell you the story how I bought it, because that's quite a story in itself. Yeah. And so, yeah, she's been in the garage now, I think, probably 2 years. There's a few issues to sort. Most of them are quite easy to sort. So she will be on the road very soon, which is probably you've heard a lot of in this videos, or these 3 videos. And I will let you into a slight secret. I've actually reshot this video, because when I shot it 2 or 3 weeks ago, whenever it was I did it, this was very negative. By the time I got to this section, I was feeling quite negative about everything. But mostly thanks to your comments and support, I'm feeling more upbeat now. And actually it helps that yesterday the Clio started. After 2 or 3 attempts, the Clio is now running and drying off nicely. And we had some fun in the Range Rover yesterday as well, preparing for the arrival of new goats, which is probably the most exciting thing to happen to this video channel since ever really. New goats are arriving soon, so we had plenty of fun in the Range Rover. And she's now got plates on for the first time. And it has made a difference. It's amazing what a set of number plates can do to a car. She looks less like ready for the scrapyard and more ready for, well, we call her Majesty. She looks more ready, looks more like to the manner born. So yeah, this is a little glimpse of the ZX 16 valve, which is a fabulous car. And anyone unfortunate enough to read PetrolBlog on a weekly basis will know that I did an article on one of these, on this car, quite recently, because it is the forgotten car. This is the result of unexpected brambles appearing in the garage and dropping all their crap all over everything. But this is very much the forgotten ZX, and arguably the best ZX. But I'll put a link in the description. But I love this car. Love this car to pieces. So yeah, where are we? Last one is the biggest one. Elaine Beige. I'll scroll up here and then we'll overlay some pictures of Elaine Beige. It hasn't been a great year for Elaine Beige. She hasn't seen any fun, for want of a better word. We worked it out in terms of money spent on Elaine Beige to mileage. £18 a mile it's cost her this year. By the time you've added up cost of storage, cost of MOT, cost of repairs, and various other pieces. For anyone who is fortunate enough not to follow me on Twitter, won't know that it's been a catalogue of issues with Elaine Beige this year. Got her out of storage, straight to the MOT station, and hoped that she would fly through, or maybe with a couple of, we knew there was a couple of issues. Some of the lights didn't work, some of the electrics were a bit dodgy, and also she was leaking a bit of diesel, which we didn't discover until we pulled her out of storage, hoping that would be like a pipe, it's like a Perish pipe. Turned out to be the fuel pump, which is very expensive for one of those, and also hard to find. So we managed to find somewhere in North Devon who reconditions fuel pumps, but that took an age, partly because we were in lockdown, we weren't in lockdown then, but things were a little difficult in terms of getting parts in and moving things around the country. And that took a lot longer than we expected. And then when we went to collect Elaine Beige, that night, the starter motor went. So we had to wait another week to get a starter motor in before we finally got her home. And actually, to be fair, rather the starter motor went at the garage than in an air in France, because that would be a disaster, wouldn't it? And then I managed to get a week off work, and we thought we'd just take us on some day trips, because moving around the country was difficult this year, as you know. And within a mile or two of the house, the alternator belt started squealing and then flew off. So we managed to get her back before she overheated, because obviously the accessory belt powers the water pump as well. And trust me on this, not an easy job. Well, it is an easy job, but the access is terrible. Unless you've got access to a pit, getting underneath Elaine Beige isn't as luxurious and pleasurable as it sounds. And it took a lot of time. It took a lot. Well, in the end, all we had to do in the end was get an oversized belt and prise it on, and then get to the storage yard with an oversized belt, which is great, but it's only a temporary fix, because at some point it's going to be, we need to put the proper one on. But to do that, I think you need a pit, or at least get her up in the air somewhere, which isn't easy when you weigh the equivalent of the Royal Albert Hall. So yeah, so she's now back in storage. So any chance of doing a nice video on her this year have gone out the window. Although I suppose we could do one in the storage yard when if and when lockdown measures are eased. So that's it. I just want to say a quick thank you to Charlie Johnson, Pete Wallace, Richard Orcock and Tom Wilshire for signing up to Club PetrolBlog. That's brilliant. And honestly, it warms the cockles of my heart whenever someone signs up to Club PetrolBlog. It gives you that kind of lift that you need, that you're doing something right. I've got some big plans for Club PetrolBlog. Big plans for Club PetrolBlog. And maybe you could win a goat. How about that? That's the prize that everyone wants, win a goat. Or maybe Club PetrolBlog owners could adopt a goat. Maybe that could be something else. But I am waffling now. But seriously, thank you all for the likes and subscribes. It's brilliant. And I'm very lucky that I have people in the comments who are very supportive and very constructive. And that does mean a lot. So I think that's the joys of having a kind of a niche audience, that we kind of feel like we're all in this together. So that's it. We'll go back to normal sort of individual updates over the coming weeks and months, if that's okay with you, because I know these fleet updates aren't particularly exciting, but it gets me out of the house and it gets me looking at cars like this. It's be good fun getting this back on the road. That's it. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, and see you soon.